The Upper Paleolithic coincides with the last ice age, with very cold climates and short temperate intervals. Neanderthals and Cro-Magnons coexisted, but Neanderthals faced extinction. Breezy and the Titan Prometheus arrive at a mammoth hunting camp in the Moravian region of Central Europe, protected by the wind gods, after observing and analyzing the community's lifestyle for a long time. Breezy and Prometheus arrive covered in rough skins as required by the climate, and carrying some valuable items for the time. Notable among them are bows and leather quivers for arrows, as well as some technologically advanced stone tools. They soon establish relationships with some of the nomads, settling into a cave at the entrance to the camp. The burly Prometheus, surrounded by some nomads, begins to give the first hunting lessons, showing them the bow, the string tension, and teaching them how to make and use arrows. He then fires the first shots, also teaching some of them how to shoot with their bows. As is often the case among children, Breezy makes fast friends with two younger brothers, who turn out to be relatives of the tribe's shaman and artist, whom they all address interchangeably with the sounds Merlo or Merlo. Breezy has been making accurate shots at a makeshift target to teach the children how to use the sling. He then visits the cave where they are camped, where Breezy meets the sorcerer and uncle of his new friends. The shaman's cave is made up of several caverns decorated with parietal paintings, with a central formation housing the artist's workshop, dominated by a large kiln burning with intense heat. A wide variety of clay figures can be found, including animals such as mammoths, bears, horses, rhinoceroses, owls, and foxes. At the entrance to the shelter, there is another adjoining grotto, where Breezy was able to observe some interesting woven mats made of plant fibers scattered on the floor. This is apparently the area where the shaman holds his magical ceremonies. She also saw flutes and other rudimentary musical instruments, as well as a large mammoth leg bone with several grooves or marks, suggesting a numbering or counting system. Breezy greeted the picturesque shaman, with his long hair and beard covered by a fur hat, who, noticing her divine origin, scrutinized her with his gaze and gave her a pleasant smile. Meanwhile, Breezy, accompanied by the girl, went to sit on some stones located in a corner of the room, where various plants and roots were simmering over a small fire in a stone bowl. The magician continued working, speaking to her for the first time and pointing to the stone bowl, assuring her that drinking the infusion obtained from these mixtures helped humans develop their intelligence. Breezy, somewhat anxious about what was happening, took Chiron's cube from a hidden pocket in her garment. Seeking a way to relax, she began to turn it over in her hand. The magician approached her and took the piece between his fingers, admiring its nature, symmetry, and beauty, as well as its sacred origin. Upon returning it, Breezy could see a certain reminiscence on his face, as he nodded slightly, as if interested in learning more about the object. The visit to the impressive cave of Merlo or Merlo and his nephews was extremely interesting, as the charismatic figure was also an accomplished musician and an experienced artist. Upon the children's arrival, he was modeling a stylized clay sculpture known today as the Venus of Dolní Věstonice. However, the most relevant and surprising part of that visit was when Breezy observed the clay balls piled up next to the sorcerer, with which he had made the various ceramic pieces. The balls, far from diminishing, increased, and when he stood up and looked, Breezy realized that they were made by an exotic beetle the size of a large walnut. The girl was captivated by the extraordinary charm of that exotic animal, as she immediately realized that the beetle was not of terrestrial origin. It wouldn't be surprising, since beings from other planetary systems have visited Earth, some with good intentions, others not so selfless, and the terrestrial deities, led by the king of the gods, have had to confront them. Breezy was familiar with terrestrial beetles, and none of them resembled this one even remotely. When the Khepry beetle, as it was called, noticed Breezy's presence, it jumped on her and uttered a few words, from which it was possible to understand. "I've been waiting for you for a long time," becoming hooked and seemingly asleep on the skins that covered the divine girl, taking the form of a shining brooch. Everyone seemed surprised to hear the shining scarab speak. Merlo, or Merlo, admired by the situation, declared that this encounter was fate, and therefore, Breezy should stay with Khepry. Breezy gratefully accepted the special gift, and after spending a short time with the Titan Prometheus, alongside the mysterious and charismatic shaman, his nephews, and the group of mammoth hunters, helping them develop their gestures and vocalizations, teaching them to hunt, drawing in the caves, and sharing the extraordinary life of human beings of this time, they left the tribe, this time in the company of their magnificent pet. Khepry the scarab came to live in the remodeled Thracian palace as the house pet. Although Breezy tried to engage his unique scarab in conversation on several occasions, he only spoke again once, saying that he would tell him his story. But it happened one day when Breezy returned from one of his constant trips and went looking for the peculiar beetle to greet him. Khepry was nowhere to be seen. He thought he might have escaped. Where could my alien friend have gone? Breezy wondered. The big surprise came days later, when Breezy found him in the intricate sacred cave at the foot of the magic dropper, a place the beetle had made his favorite haunt. The mysterious beetle, Khepry, accumulated energy and information, and since he refused to speak or couldn't, he surprised Breezy one day with strange signs that appeared as marks or bumps on the base of his shiny shell. Those signs, deciphered by the girl, formed a syllabic alphabet through which she could transmit a unique language, acquiring, in the process, the ability to change color slightly according to his mood. This became a major event for Breezy and her collaborators, who found in the beetle Khepry a very valuable ally with its inexplicable didactic metamorphosis. Breezy tried to find out the origin of the mysterious beetle, but it wasn't ready to answer, he told her. The appropriate time and moment would come. Khepry always had something interesting to say, and his advice became a valuable source of information for Breezy, who soon tied a cord around her neck, which the scarab could attach to at will, transforming it into a shining amulet with which he could converse via text messages. And from then on, he and Breezy began traveling around the planet. No sooner had she returned than Breezy paid a visit to his beloved guardian. She took his sensational pet to the cave on Mount Pelion in Thessaly, where the enlightened Chiron lived, to introduce Khepry and to tell it about the mysterious wizard Merlo, whom they would soon meet again. There was no shortage of solicitous Chiron's questions about his health and the benefits obtained by turning Chiron's cube between his fingers.